What's going on, everybody? Welcome to ECS Magazine Hangout on this wonderful Wednesday night. Hopefully, we don't screw up tonight. The topic tonight is going to be how people are treated differently when they build a custom vehicle or differently when they purchase a custom vehicle. And no matter what kind of vehicle it is, uh, we've had situations where, like, some people I know have bought a custom vehicle in the past or recently, and they get hated on because they buy something that they liked that's already done. And there's people that get hated on when they custom build something. You know, I want to get y'all's take on that. And I really like to start with Ricky Kennedy here on this one because this is an interesting one.
I've had my fair share of opinions in the past. I don't know. I'm always a bought kind of guy, but then again, I don't ever have ready built stuff half the time anyway. So, in my opinion, is if you own, don't try and take credit on what that you just happen to buy.
So, what any of y'all can answer this? If you're building a vehicle and someone comes up and they hate on your vehicle, does it bother you, or does it? If you buy a vehicle that's already done, does it bother you?
Not really. Like, everybody has their own opinion. I feel like if you think it looks good, you think, use, then personally it shouldn't matter what everybody else thinks. It's building the vehicle for yourself. I mean, yeah, other people, are going to see it, at it and whatnot, but it should be your vehicle. It's your. If somebody else, you going out and buy a vehicle, it's something you like caught your eye. That's why you wanted it. You know what I mean? So I feel, it shouldn't really bother me. Like, it's my opinion on my vehicle. Or you're not driving it every day, or you're not bringing it to car shows. I am. You know what I mean?
Mini Track Matt, do you understand what the topic is tonight?
No, I've been fighting with my phone again to try to get everything to work.
And you're working fine.
You're definitely
surprisingly
working good now.
Yeah, no kidding.
Laptop.
Yeah, I was able to get it to work on my phone this time. But share with me what's the topic tonight? What's going on?
Okay, the topic is simply how differently people are treated. Like is it fair? Like, if someone builds a custom vehicle of their own, no matter what it is it fair that they get treated poorly, or is it fair that is it unfair that people get treated unfairly if they purchase a custom vehicle that's already done? Or do you think, okay, how about this? I personally don't like it at all when someone buys a custom vehicle that's already done and then claims they did all the work to it. That's my personal opinion.
I agree. I think that's kind of a cardinal sin. It's something that you don't do. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with most vehicles, depending on how iconic they may be, to do things to it to make it your own. But it comes down to give credit where credit is due. And if you're the kind of person that's not going to do that, then you should be willing to accept the repercussions.
Believe it or not, I've actually personally myself seen it happen numerous times at car shows where I've walked up knowing who built the vehicle. It completely did everything. And they walk up and they go, yeah, did this and I did that and I did this. I'm like, well, really? That's kind of coincidence because I know the person that built it.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to say. It puts them on the spot. Well, I also have this situation where one of my photographers, I'm not going to bring his name up because that's the reason why I can't go back on TikTok now. One of my photographers also gets hated on because of how he customizes his own personal vehicles. You know what I'm saying? See, this topic can go in many different directions, and it kind of brings out the word. I hate to say it because we can't say it. It is hate, but
Yeah.
I grew up believing that when you hate on someone's vehicle, most of the time, 90% of the time, you're jealous of what they have and you don't have. Call me
I
old-fashioned.
agree. So, you mind if I chime in real quick on that?
Yes.
I do agree with the jealousy part. I think people are jealous of what others not only are capable of in their own skill, but also of other people's deeper pockets potentially, or just personal situation. However, we all are extremely creative minds to be involved in this niche of automobile hobby, and our creative minds are typically tunnel visioned in one way. So we see things the way that we want to see them. And if they are not that way, then we immediately have a reaction. And some people can have a gracious reaction saying, hey, that's a great idea. That's a different way to do it. That's really awesome. And other people have a way of seeing it of, well, I would have done that differently. And they're so tunnel visioned upon how they want to see it that they produce a negative reaction to something that is not the way they would do it.
Well said, Matt. Well said. Chris, what's your take on it? 'Cause I know you hear it. I know you deal with it. You've heard Jeff talk about it last night too, a little bit.
Yeah. Am I coming right now?
Ooh, ouch.
Can you hear me?
Trying to talk.
You're really messed up. He was talking perfectly
Yeah,
fine a while ago. I don't
yeah.
understand.
You probably can't hear me still, right? Yeah, no.
That's a little
Yeah,
better.
I
Yeah.
can still hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Stink.
My take on it is, what's your end goal? Whether you're going to build it or you're going to buy it, because if your end goal is to drive it and enjoy it with your family, then what's the difference, right? It's going to go down many different goals, and it's never ending. Built versus bought is very vague in my opinion, where you could say bought first, handmade, bought first, modified, bought first, coach built. If one gets more respect or not, and does it really matter? You never see a celebrity get a car built or buy one car and them catch hate for it. Oh, bought not built. Okay, why is it when you do it? It's a story. I think it's a subtle chess flag, like a chess, like, oh, you didn't build that. I don't think it really matters. And or where do you draw them? Because you can bolt on accessories and say, well, you can hand fabricate the entire car. You can coach build from scratch. One guy is clearly more talented than the other, but are they still both built? I mean, for me, what's the angle? What are you going to do with the car? Are you going to enjoy it with your family? It doesn't matter. Yeah, bad connection. You guys
I barely could get what you were saying there, Chris, but I understand. I understand what you were saying though.
I'm gonna move.
MrCarshow.com. I hear Mr. Car. I hear about MrCarson.com, but I don't see him. Denny,
Welcome. Hello, everyone.
is everybody
Hello.
got tornado warnings or something? Because everybody's videos are messing up.
Well, it's sort of kind of too cold for my ass outside.
Dude, I think the whole I'm starting to think the whole world is screwed up. MrCarshow.com. Are you even there at all? You had to come
He's
I'm
with
back,
here.
us in
Bubba.
spirit.
They say he's here in spirit. Is that what you said?
Yeah, he's with us. I heard I'm here.
Danny, Danny, did you hear about what any of the topic was?
I got the little blurb,
Oh
and
boy.
you know me and how I feel about blood, sweat, and tears in cars and spending money and letting somebody else do the work, especially when it comes to car shows. If I put my time and energy and build it myself, I know what I did to it.
Yeah.
Versus, here's 10 grand. I want this done to my car, and well, here's your 10 grand worth of work, and you got a Boss radio with two Hyphonic subwoofers and maybe a Sony Explode amp. Hope you like your custom sound system. Versus learning how to do it myself. And people like in that join us every week that, hey, can you come over and help? Or I don't know how to do this, and I know you know how to do this. Can you show me?
Well, this topic goes in so many different directions, obviously, because it's getting thrown all over the place. It seems that way, and the main purpose of the topic was because there's been so many different incidents of how people, you know, get treated differently because they either build a vehicle themselves, they get loved or they get hated, or they buy a custom vehicle and they get loved and they get hated. The only problem I have is the biggest problem is the ones that build, like Matt as even said, it's a that's a no no. But claim you did all the work when you didn't do the work. Like my
Yep.
boy Tony right there. I mean, Bill he makes builds his 4-wheel drive trucks, but he builds them the way he likes them. He does what he likes to do. He does his thing. But if he was to build, say, a SEMA 4-wheel drive truck, right? He built a
Yeah.
SEMA truck and he sold it, made a good chunk of change. And say all of a sudden somebody comes up, oh my God, my dog. There's always something around his house. But say he sold it, and then all of a sudden they don't know who they bought. They don't know who he bought it from or whatever. Someone else goes up to the other truck and knows Tony and goes, "Hey, I like your truck. What did you do to it?" And they start going in detail of everything they done to it and everything else, like I did. And then they go, "Oh, crap! You know the person that built the truck." And they're taking all the credit for something they didn't do, and it happens a lot.
I see it all the
It's
time.
never gonna stop either.
No.
Now
How do you
I
feel about like
can say personally from all the coverage and stuff for I walked up to the car, however, knowing that it was a person had it built. I've never personally heard anybody try anything. Around here, everybody knows it'd be kind of hard for them to say, "Hey, I built this truck." There's probably 100 people pretty quick. I've never personally.
I've seen it both. I've seen it where somebody buys something that somebody built, but they actually had the respect to say "built by" on their stuff, or I got it, but this guy had it first. But even some of the built ones that I've seen, actually had enough respect to be like, okay, I need to change the paint color because of this, and who I bought it from is a very respectable person who built it. You know,
Hmm.
if you're gonna buy somebody's built vehicle, at least give them the respect, unless they don't want to be recognized for building it, and then you're taking all the credit for it. But at least give them the credit or some credit for their build. That's their blood, sweat, and tears going in that build. You know,
What
don't
about
sit there and just say you built something and you know damn well you did not build that shit.
What about a situation where you buy a car, it's already done, it's already built, and then suddenly you're redoing because of the quality of work. So in other words, you bought it with the expectation of, pictures, that type of thing. Because I can almost be in that situation with my Jeep, because
At,
I've had to redo everything on that thing.
at that point, it's going from being something you bought built to something now you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears into it. It's not built at
That,
that point. It's redesigning and
that's
refabbing to
Yeah.
your specifications now.
That may fall under what you said about the original builder not wanting to have credit and taking credit for it.
Right.
Because they knew they built so they threw it together with some wood screws and some duct tape,
Yeah.
and they got them a sucker.
Like personally, like you got to think if you're building like a vehicle, you're not starting from the ground up. You're just changing looks, the style, like certain things on it. You know what I mean? So I built vehicle and just doing it the way you want it would be, it'd still be being built. And like in the beginning, yeah, it'd be bought, but at the end, being built. Yeah, that kind of thing.
I think there's something to say here with this. This gentleman next to me here was talking about, building it yourself and learning yourself and having your friends come over. And, if you end up selling that vehicle and it was what you learned on, forewarn the person that's buying it, especially if there's someone who likes to have really nice items, that, hey, I learned how to do this and how to do this on this vehicle. So don't kill me if you have to redo something, because I was just trying to learn so that I can do better in the future. And how many times is someone going to swallow their pride to tell the next person that, when instead they're just gonna be like, yeah, just don't put my name on it when you drive.
And I've been that. I've been through that, especially when I started doing car audio. I had to start somewhere, but it turned into me doing a hobby to me going, all right, hey, I'm going to stand behind what I just did.
Yeah.
Versus I can't sit there and say, well, yeah, there's some crappy work and I did it, but, go ahead, go show it off and see. That's my name, my reputation behind that. I don't want somebody sitting there bad mouthing me because they thought I did a horrible job and they're gonna go show it off.
Yeah. And that's the difference between you and me. I also stand behind what I build, because I know if I stand in front of it, it would run me over after it broke.
Yeah,
I don't
another
want to
thing.
get ran over either.
Yeah, real quick. Another thing you gotta think about is like, when I was 16 building a car with my friends in the backyard, a lot of times, hey, we just want to get to the street. And now that I'm, once you hit 40, I don't have the patience to be welding anymore and sanding down fenders anymore. But because I build cars from scratch, but I'm talking about everything, doing the paint, the hydraulics, doing the system, even interior. We did our own interiors just because, at 16 through 18, we didn't have any extra money to pay anybody to do it. You're learning, and that's how we did get better on some things. But now when you hit 40, you're like, okay, I have money to pay somebody to do it. Do I really want to sand this car down every weekend for about 2 months on my time off? Because I work 9 to 5. And when you get older, it does change a little bit. I mean, unless, of course, that's your business. But I work 9 to 5 at an office, and I worked 9 to 5 at an office all my life. But I think it also has to do with your age, and of course, if you have a big wallet, or parents that can give you what you want. Because we used to paint our own cars in the front yard, and at the end of the day, we had a compressor and we sanded our own cars, but we didn't have a paint booth. We didn't have anything like that. And you know what? Some of the stuff turned out okay. Are you going to win at the car show? Probably not, but you're 16 years old spraying a car, and your friends are helping you. And same thing with changing the engine. If your transmission went out, we went to the junkyard, pulled our own transmission out. My brothers and my car club guys, we all put it in. There was no way we had, at that time, I'm going to say how much, but no matter what it was, we didn't have the money to pay somebody to do it for us. But, you're right. You're talking about, hey, you learn. Sometimes it's messed up and then you keep going, but you just want to get back in the street, or you want to get to a car show. The same thing with the audio system. Everything changes. We used to buy, this amp or that amp, or you had a amp from the flea market. I didn't care. I'm like, hey,
I got my best deals from the flea market.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
You know what? I need my amp.
There's the club for that. We meet at the bar.
But sometimes you went to a flea market or the swap meet, because I lived in San Diego. Out there they're called swap meets. Now I live in Texas. Here you can't call them swap meets; they're called flea markets. But I see both sides. I've done both sides. Now that you hit 40 and you have a little bit of money in the bank, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna buy a car that's already built. I'm gonna just get in it, and it's gonna drive, and it looks decent. And I do give people credit. Like paint jobs, to me, I'd rather pay an expert to paint it how I want it. Hey, do this, do that. I'm not gonna try to paint anymore. And my brothers, they don't want to paint anymore. We're all, yeah.
But and that all plays back into the generation now of everybody in here has the experience and the knowledge of to do a car. But here it is, we got the younger generation that's like, they want to learn, but there's nobody around to teach them. So they have no choice but to go to mommy and daddy and be like, hey, I found this car, and they're asking $30,000 for it, and it's a 92 Honda Civic that's done up Fast and the Furious style. Not giving credit for Fast and the Furious, but we could all of us in here, I guarantee, has that one kid down the street that says, oh man, how you get your car like that, and can you show me? And will go out of their way, make the time to show that kid how to build a car.
And the other thing, there's shops out there, like that's a good point. Like, GS Customs is here in Houston, and he gets, we get kids. Sometimes I'm there on Fridays hanging out, but he gets kids coming in there, but they're 18, 19. They don't have any money, and they come in there like, hey, I want to do this. I can't pay you to do it. And Gil will sit there and kind of tell them, okay, this is an airbag. This is a system. Look, here's a YouTube video. Try it. That way you can learn. But if you have any questions, let me know. Don't burn anything out. I want you to hook it up. And they'll hook stuff up. Then they'll drive up there, and Gil will go out there and look at it. Okay, it looks good. Before you plug anything up, okay, do it. Same thing with audio. I think that's important for these shops to help the new generation.
So that's where, so that's the way I feel about it. And I'm pretty sure I agree with what you said. But it's hard trying to find that shop nowadays too.
Wait, you're saying it's harder to find stuff
Got
out?
worse now.
No, shops like that.
Oh, okay.
The shops that are actually willing to go out there.
Reggie's face.
Because I know where I live at, the whole automotive part in school is very far and few between.
Yep.
What's going on, Alan?
Just don't want to work for me tonight.
Hey guys, I appreciate y'all letting me join tonight, but I gotta take off.
Oh, so soon?
Yeah,
Hear you. I
I'm
can't
actually
see
down here at my
anybody. My
I'm actually down here at my
connection
parents' house, so I gotta go. I'll see y'all later.
Take it easy, man.
All right,
All
buddy.
right, bye guys.
sucks. All I can see is
All
you,
right.
Reggie. Like boxes, no
I see everybody. Everybody sees you too.
Yeah, we see everybody. Hey, like a good example is, I don't know if y'all remember. See, y'all too young, but y'all remember Circuit City?
I
Yeah.
remember Circuit City.
I walked in there one day. I was
Me and you.
19.
I remember when they sold the real audio bonds.
Yeah. They used to say, you walk in there and you tell them, hey, I need help. And I don't know how to switch a subwoofer
man.
from 4 ohms to 8 ohms or 2 ohms. I have no idea what that means. And you know what the guy told me? He's like, that's what we're here for. You got to pay us. We're the experts. And I just walked
Yeah.
out. I went back to the flea market because at the flea market, the guy at least told me, hey, look, this is how you do it. Don't burn anything up, because, it's hard to find somebody to help you. And when I went to Circuit City, you do get,
So
set back. But I never went back to Circuit City. I'm just like, oh, forget that. I'm out. And where are they now? They shut down.
Listen, I'm so old. I'm the guy who remembers Leechmere.
I remember.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you're just showing your real age.
Yeah, right.
I remember when you used to get good shit at Radio Shack.
I worked at Radio Shack.
Oh, you
Hey, you laugh, but a Radio Shack, they saved me a bunch of times. Believe me. They had connectors. They had adapters. One time I had to hook up, and I am going to show my age. My Walkman, I hooked it up to my amplifier directly with a splitter, a 3.5 millimeter to audio RC jacks, and it worked. I didn't have no radio. Look, he ain't lying, Joe. No, my radio.
I still remember catalog numbers.
Yeah, I went to Radio Shack, bought an adapter, hooked up my Walkman straight to the amplifier, turned the volume up, and I had bass and sound coming out. Anybody on here did that before?
I don't know. I'm still blown with the fact. The way that Joe just came out with that name tag right out of nowhere. I'm sorry,
Joe. I believe you. Yeah, but I mean, you did what you could for the money you had. It took a splitter in my Walkman because my radio went out. I couldn't afford to buy a new radio at the time,
Right.
so I had a Walkman, and that was what I was jamming. But I had subs. I had bass.
Look,
Listen, if
the only way that
you had a good pair of
anybody
6x9s,
can top that name tag.
Yeah.
The only way anybody can top that name tag if Juan himself right there, mycarshow.com, just pops up a freaking Blockbuster name tag.
Hey, we were talking about that earlier, Blockbuster. No.
Movie gallery.
VHS Blockbuster, not the DVD Blockbuster.
Blockbuster.
Hold on 1 second. Alan, do you see everybody now?
you can't hear you. I try to reset my box as I got full. I can only see you.
No, on my side, it's showing your internet connection is very, very weak, Alan. I'm just being honest. I don't know what's going on your end, man.
I actually, up until a couple of weeks ago, I actually still had a Blockbuster membership card.
God, that's a true collector's item.
Thing that within all the I live with.
But I mean, you do get treated different. I mean, you do, and there's always that stigmata of you bought a car, you built it, and if you try to do something by yourself, it is not 100% or is not show quality. I mean, at the end of the day, we didn't care. We're still out there in the streets. We're driving. We're going to the competitions. We're going to the car shows. at the end of the day, it's it's important not to, like, these kids. I don't want to discourage them. Like, I was discouraged because you do get discouraged. You're 16, you're 18, and people are making fun of whatever you did to your car. I remember the first time I put neon lights underneath my car in Houston. They're like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" And this is way back in the days before it wasn't cool to put neon lights underneath your cars or in your wheel wells. We're just trying something new.
I couldn't afford to full buy the little 20-inch tubes from AutoZone and zip tie them.
Yeah. Yeah. We're talking about age. We used to go to Western Auto. I don't know if y'all remember Western Auto.
Oh my God, yeah.
Western Auto has some good deals. I'm not gonna lie, because they would have the sidewalk sales. But that's where I bought my neon lights. And you're right, they were just the tubes.
I mean, raise your hand.
I love
Raise your hand if you ever went to Ames and bought a Kraco stereo system to put in your car. Come on. One of us.
Walkman. I'm telling you, Joe, I had a Walkman for a while.
Kraco or was it a oh God, was it a 14-2138? That's my Radio Shack catalog knowledge. Yeah.
Wow.
Is that the Craig tape deck?
No, that was the Optimus.
Kind of getting back to having your friends help that I'm in. I've got a truck that dad's sitting on jack stands. So, I mean, it's a bare frame. I've slowly been tinkering. I don't know how to. It's my dad's deal, but it's been in the bag truck scene for a long time. Step aside, like, here you go. I want to get my hands dirty. If I break down, something happens, I need to know how to fix it.
My photographer Dino just put in the comments street glow tubes. Oh yeah, taking it back.
Street glow gold.
Yep.
Yeah,
I wish Dino would come on here, because I know he's trying to hide the fact that he's getting ready to break out with his car at the Lowrider show, and he don't want nobody to see what he's doing. That's what the deal is. That's why he won't come on camera. He's trying to be secret.
Those street glow tubes, I used to use them in when I used to do computer customizations. When I used to do, like, make your computer like look cool, and I'd get those street glow tubes, stick them in so that it would you'd highlight the piece of plexiglass. Matter of fact, oh geez, hold on, I have an example.
I couldn't afford the full kit, so
Oh, thank you for unmuting me.
these blue lights are for a fish tank.
And something I said earlier, and Reggie can vouch for this. We had a kid back when me and Reggie were rolling back in the late 90s that literally bought a rim at a time and put them on his car, on his Hyundai Accent. And it took him 3 months to get all 4 rims on his car. Reggie knows what I'm talking about.
In between customizing cars, I was customizing computers.
Yeah. Well, we're all starting to show our real age in here. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Well, I get a year older tomorrow. I'll be 48 tomorrow.
Old ass.
48. I remember 48. That was awesome.
Happy early birthday.
Joe said, I remember those days.
I remember 48. 48 was great. I could still feel my feet.
This is why this hangout gets all screwed up. We start out with a topic, and then about halfway through, we start getting stupid as shit.
Hey, I was trying to bring it back.
Bring it back, hangout the way hangout was meant to be, to hang out.
Hey, but we tell these stories that way people can see what we went through. Because I mean, you always had that guy that came to the show, and they had parents to pay for everything, and you're young, you're just trying to do the best you can, But like audio systems, interior, we did our own interior, sometimes, and at the end of the day, we did the best we could. And then when you
Ain't-
get older, you know,
There
things
ain't
change.
nothing
You
like
get
some
married, you
3
got kids.
foam and some velour.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Use
find out
that in
real
a
quick how to
Cadillac I
stretch.
had.
You find out real quick how to stretch vinyl with the with the heat gun, and you learn by yourself. Like you were saying, it's good to have those skills, but sometimes, do I want to sand the car anymore? No, thank you. And then, like, when you start welding, my welds look like crap. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Because nowadays you see these
Same.
guys, they got to show off. They got the little loops. They got to make sure the weld, it's like show welds now. And I'm like, what the hell? We weren't even looking at welds back. We just wanted not to fall apart. And
Okay.
if you're gonna laugh, but hey, sometimes we use JB weld. I'm sorry, because something broke. Hey, we just need to get to the next show, until we can fix it. So JB weld was my friend. Sometimes for different things,
I've been there, done that too.
Okay, look, a comment.
Every
comment
redneck in the South got in
A
ton
hot
of
rod
on their
shop.
cars.
A hot rod shop just commented, "Built, not bought." I used to like that comment a long time ago, and I still respect it to this day. I'm not going to contradict you. I do respect that to this day. But if you do not have the capabilities of building your own custom vehicle, and you see something that someone else built and it's up for sale, and you really like it and you want it bad enough, should it be a crime to want to go out and purchase a vehicle because you fall in love with it, but you don't know how to build a car, but you really like the way they did it?
No.
No,
I
absolutely
mean,
not.
be honest.
Enjoying the craft.
I mean, yeah, like there a while ago, there was a time that I was lusting after a specific motorcycle that of all things that it had, it was actually a Mountain Dew theme, and I was like, oh, I gotta have that thing, and I would have done anything to get it. Unfortunately, somebody had more money than I did, but like that's like, but I think the Hot Rod Shop brings it over again. If you act like you built it,
Exactly.
therein lies
That's
the problem.
different.
If you're not giving
Talked about it a
props,
second ago.
yeah, right. And if you're not giving props to the person that built it, if you don't at least like make a placard that to put in front of it that says who built it, that
Hey,
that
Rod. A Rod, a hot rod shop just like saved that whole comment by coming back with that one. He came back. He saved himself on that one. He went,
I
"Oh
got
crap!"
one. It goes off to this question. It goes off of what
yeah.
the question about the custom built, everything else, and everybody saying built, not bought. It all falls in that realm of respect. If you don't have any, then you're going to be a butthole acting like you built something you didn't build. You have the respect, and that's one thing that's the difference between everybody on this thing. Out of what I can tell, have got at least 10 years in dosing, at least
More than that.
And most of the young kids have the level of respect in their builds to understand, and that's when they get to be already have that level of respect of what it takes to actually create something, whether you're building it or you're paying somebody to build it. Either way, it's coming out of your butt one way or another. I mean, my car, I did the interior and I did the lighting on it. I got $80,000 into it, and the rest of it what? But there ain't another one like it anywhere in this United States or probably the entire world. I had
But it's
everything
okay
done to
because
it through my eyes the way I wanted.
as that's what I was getting ready to say. But the thing is,
it was bought. It was bought because I paid to make happen what I wanted to happen. My mini truck, I bought it the way it's sitting. The only thing I've done to it is put it on the ground. So I'm just, I think it's all respect. Whether you can buy something or you can build it. If you've got enough respect to honor what you got, you treat people that act about it, then you'll be fine.
So I guess that begs the question of like, where's the line? So in other words, like, the line being like, and I'm just going to throw this for the extreme silliness factor, like the guy who went to Bradley's / Ames or wherever and bought the chrome foot that you put on your freaking gas pedal, you know, and buys the rest of like those items that are on that same shelf, and then puts whatever the fake chrome on it. Like, is the line that the person who, whether they built it or bought it, that it's fully fabricated, or that they went to the Summit catalog and bought the individual pieces to put onto their machine? I think, like having the vision of buying those specific pieces,
it shouldn't matter.
Shouldn't matter, right? Because like to have like the vision to do it, whether it's the store bought neon tubes or whatever kind of thing.
No matter what somebody builds, you need to have a respect to be able to respect however they build it, even if you don't like it. You got to respect it. And that's my club.
I know a guy who's got he's got a 19. Yeah, I know a guy who's got a 1970 GTO that has, and he fully 100% brags about the fact that every piece of chrome in his engine compartment was bought from Ames in 1983. Right, and it's like, okay, that. The nostalgia point of that, because of like going, yeah, I remember like walking through Ames and looking at like the chrome air cleaner, that had no distinctive label on it whatsoever. It didn't have Moroso on it. Didn't have any other like brands that you would buy it from Summit kind of thing. So it's like you paid what you could afford, but you had whatever vision to put it on kind of thing. And if it comes out good and it looks good, the car looks amazing. When you actually look at it, it's like quite actually a thing to behold. People throw,
but like George Butt,
hopefully I pronounce his name correctly. Yeah. People throw the word fabricated around lightly. That's a great. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Jorge. But yeah, that's Jorge. But that's a thing. It's like like the guy who fabricates. I don't know. Like I've seen people who in their driveway. And when I say fabricate, they're welding something together, and whether their welds look awful before they grind them. Because that's the thing. You can have like the worst weld in the world, but a good grinder will make it look good again. So you can't put down
body, man, make it disappear.
Right. The right amount of Bondo makes anything disappear.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of how good are you with the sander.
Yeah, but then that's
Ain't that wrong with a little bit of super glue and duct tape?
Where I was thinking. Ultimately, it comes down to respect.
Yeah,
it 100%. I mean, because we're all old. And people who are just starting out in the scene can't afford to pay $10,000 at a paint job, or $10,000 at a car, or something like that, or throw $8,000 into some hydraulics or an air ride set of valve blocks on it, or something like. So everybody starts somewhere, and as long as they keep the passion, most of the times they end up with something badass in the long run. And putting them down or something like that, disrespecting them doesn't promote the scene. It's like down here in North Carolina, it's real big right now on kids and family in the show. And Mike Pilgrim, which he was up here a few weeks ago, he's in my car club, and he was a big part of Drop Jaw magazine and the shows that
I know
we had
you
down
look
here.
familiar.
And now he does show. Alan Price, Vice President of Animated Attractions, run a show page called Back in the Day Show Picks Pre-05 on Facebook. Been involved with a lot of shows and ran with a club called Magical Concept before. that, and before that, in a club called Toys to Envy with Reggie, back in like 1999.
I know you look familiar. I've seen you somewhere before.
You owe him money.
Shut up. We weren't going to talk about that
an
right
old
now. I was going to leave that out until later. You know, I never did collect my money you owed me.
Hey, Joe, they're making some good points over there in the comments.
I like everything but squatters. So I'm guessing that's the Carolina squat. And
Everybody likes a squatted truck.
I like Mark
full of rocks and gravel.
It's illegal.
I'd love to see
Doing work.
pictures. Yeah, it is illegal now. I would love to see some pictures of Mark Neese Jr.'s. He's building a convertible F-150 four-door, and he's never done it before, so hopefully it turns out good. I'm building it in my backyard, so it's taking a little longer than I anticipated, and with the tears of laughter emoji. I think when we were talking about using lots of Bondo, we're talking about these smoke and mirrors from so that smoke and mirrors. I do love sometimes seeing not necessarily the smoke, but I sometimes love walking up to a car that's got the mirrors on the bottom so that you can see the work that's on the underside.
I really don't think that he's saying all smoke and mirrors the same way you think he is.
No, I agree. I think he's talking more about when people are using Bondo to cover up,
Yeah.
or that kind of thing. I'm certainly not going to deny that fact. But that being said, people have to start somewhere.
Botox.
People have to start somewhere, and honestly, I've looked at some pretty world famous custom cars, and I've constantly been amazed sometimes when you see a car, and I'm not going to name a specific car maker that was on a lot of reality shows type of thing, where you actually get up close to their cars and suddenly it's the amount of Bondo that is cracking in the extreme, and or the paint that's cracking in the extreme, and it's wow, I just saw this on the cover of whatever magazine like a year ago, and it already looks this bad. Come on, type of thing. So I think it works both ways, where if somebody who's starting out, it was what I was trying to make as my original point is that there's a lot of people who are starting out that sometimes use a little bit of that smoke and mirrors because they don't have the fabricating experience or the tool sets to do it fully 1000% the right way. So they're going to use that smoke and mirrors to make it look as good as they possibly can. But that being said, I've seen a lot of professional folks out there that have had winning show cars that after a year, they ain't so winning anymore. They ain't holding up like you would think that they should hold up. And some of those names were and still are very respected in the customization world. I'm talking about famous trucks. Famous trucks. Like Bigfoot.
I got,
actually, Bigfoot up close is not pretty.
There's a monster truck. You talking about monster truck, Bigfoot?
No, when they talk about famous trucks, he's probably pertaining to more like iconic mid-class custom mini trucks and stuff like that. That's what I'm taking from it. I mean, I'm reading the screen, and he ain't up here to tell us himself, but I'm pretty sure that's what it probably talking about is the iconic custom vehicles, the mini trucks.
He also said cracks trigger me, and it's so funny. I think it's especially when you walk up close to 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 vehicles, and you do see that, and you kind of die. At least I do. I kind of die a little inside, because especially if it's like on like a you know this is something that I would see a lot, like especially going like World of Wheels, and sometimes you would see like that Boyd Coddington,
Look, I
like
got down here in North
like and
is winning all the best stuff.
yeah, and
We got a truck down
they
there going
some of them
all
win.
over the United States for the last 6 months, winning best ofs. Go in the interior. No, the thing, he's got some flame paint job. He's completely shaved. Outside of it looks somewhat decent, but the flames don't go into the door. And then when you look in the inside, there's 4 different colors of blue inside because they were painted at different times. And he's winning best of. Nothing else like this that's fully body dropped on 30s and air ride submission down here in the area that has that level of custom. But then again, like we were talking about just ago, he paid for every bit of it. And he actually owns a fabricating shop.
Oh my God, that's a great comment.
And he paid somebody else to build his entire truck.
Wow.
Jorge came out
I
with
got to that point too.
I had
I
to
gotta
judge
interrupt
his
this.
truck, and I was giving him a 10 on paint, and then I was told no because my buddy Kern sat there and pointed out it was wrong with that truck and why it wasn't a 10. He taught me how to actually look at a truck and find out what was wrong with it. And
Jorge came up with the best. I don't call it Bondo. I call it Master Cake Maker.
I was laughing at that when I seen it.
I used to work in a paint and body shop, and we had a guy, and when he used Bondo, he actually did it a way where you wouldn't even tell it was Bondo, because especially on metal parts, metal panels, because one of the things he did was he worked on a lot of classic cars, and they were a lot of classic show cars. He actually would do it a certain way that when they pulled out magnets to do magnet tests, magnets stuck to the Bondo area. But it also wasn't a 1/2 inch thick. It wasn't 3/4 of an inch thick. It was a very skim coat, but it had metal shavings in it that still got ground down to make it smooth.
I'm okay with a skim coat to act a little bit of as a leveling agent, right? And you're doing an extreme thin, like almost as if you're doing wallboard in your house kind of thing. You're just smoothing out minor imperfections that might take a while to like bang out.
Your block work and your skim, your
so you're not talking.
And then you're doing a block sand on top of that. So you're gonna block it out to make it smooth and that kind of thing. And I think that I have first of all, I have every amount of respect for anybody who can spend the amount of time to block sand, to get, to get whatever amount of mirror smoothness kind of thing. And so
that's going a ton of body.
Say it, Juan.
I don't have that patience. I just don't.
Say it, Juan. Say it. You got something on your mind. Say it.
No, I'm gonna keep
Just
on
say
it.
it. Just say it.
Don't say it. Go ahead, get out your sister. I know you want to say it.
Come on.
No. So we're getting, and
Okay.
it's important because
What's
like
the
when I go to
longest Bondo
SEMA,
you've ever found? I found 1.25 inches on a truck.
Oh, damn.
but you go to SEMA, but you do expect a different level of skill at SEMA, and you go to SEMA and you still see stuff. It's like, what the hell? Why did you use that connector? You spent all this money building this truck, and then you're gonna cut a corners over here, and you can see it. I'm like, seriously?
and they use the blue squeeze connector from Radio Shack.
Yeah.
I was gonna say black electrical tape, about 3 inches thick.
I'll see black electrical tape at SEMA. For stuff I'm like, seriously, this is a $100,000 truck y'all built to show it off, and you say we touched every single piece on this truck. Every bolt is brand new, but then you cut corners on stuff that you can see visually, and you were just talking about mirrors underneath the car, but if you don't want somebody to see something, you put you got you cover it up or whatever. But when you go to SEMA, we're talking about like the show that you judge, and you say, hey, this is a 10. Well, if it's a show that, okay, it's street cars, but if you go to SEMA, you do expect a different level. You want to see something new. You want to see, hey, the best of the best. I mean, honestly, that's why I go to SEMA. And you go there, and some cars do disappoint me. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, look, I'm not the smartest man in the world, and I don't have the most skills, but I can tell a difference between, a good paint job and, a bad paint job, especially when you can see that they painted this fender a week after they painted this one, because everybody knows the temperature, the speed, there's so much variables that go into painting a car. Even when you mix the paint, I've had people, they ran out of paint. Okay, I'm gonna go mix it. I'm like, that's not the same color. Well, you want to be able to tell.
No.
I'm like, I can tell.
But on the same token, though, I don't necessarily have a problem with like, as much as like I'm kind of like railing on like the person like when you go to like World of Wheels, where you see that one machine that was a little disappointing. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Like SEMA is it a scale higher? I mean, to me, SEMA is all about like the showing of not just the cars themselves, but it's also like that whole product placement and the paint booths of like the different paint companies and the different accessories that you can buy, that kind of stuff, that like tour like showing off the builds that are featuring their products. That's one level, but then there's the level of, I think, where yes, you see like the show cars, and I'm okay with seeing like the different level of show cars. I will agree that I'm expecting a little bit high, like a higher caliber, but I'm not saying that. I mean, honestly, to be brutally honest, even some of the low caliber or what you're going to see in SEMA is far and above what I would find from many shops in New Hampshire, kind of thing. But there are a couple of shops here in New Hampshire who did send machines to SEMA and actually did pretty well. But that being said, it's like, not every. I don't think. I would hate to be that person that's like actually discouraging somebody to try to bring their car to SEMA, even if I felt it wasn't necessarily like up to a certain standard, kind of thing. Because I think people need to learn that they may or may not make it, kind of thing. So.
I've seen some backyard
builds.
They're
not going to win the show, but they're going to be there, but at least they made it there, type of thing. And I think there's like a certain respect level of being able to put yourself and your work out there for that, and possibly learn something from the other masters that are there. So I don't think that's a bad thing.
All right.
Who knows? Like 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line, that person that brought that machine that was a little disappointing was going to bring a machine that's like that, like 20 times better, like 4 or 5 years down the line, based on what they themselves saw and went, wow, I can't believe I brought this car to SEMA 5 years ago. And like the hell was I thinking? Yes, Reggie, it's the bathroom is down the hall to the left.
Teacher, can I say something, teacher?
No.
We're reaching our hour mark, and I want to say the same thing that Primo would say if he was up here right now. That we don't want to go past our algorithm for the YouTube page.
You're at 59:10.
Even though I think I just said that completely wrong. But I want to end this on this note, because it's actually turned out to be a great hangout tonight. I really appreciate y'all coming in to make it worth something, make me feel like not to give up on it. It actually was a great conversation. We talked about numerous things. I appreciate Juan finally coming on again. Been a while. Denny, as always. Alan Price. Joel from Radio Shack.
Yeah.
And Rick Kennedy Photography. I do appreciate. I just want to get off of here because I'm getting hungry and I keep watching Juan almost falling asleep. Don't give that face. I know you were trying not to fall asleep. I saw it in my eyes going. If I had the microphone up a little louder, I bet you I could have heard you.
Detroit Autorama here.
Hey, Jorge wants to bring up real quick that if you want to see some awesome builds, go to the Detroit Autorama coming up, which he's not lying.
Yeah, but okay. All right, guys. I don't have a sponsor on this one, so I can leave some name out this time. I just want to thank everybody coming out to hang out. Hope everybody comes back next Wednesday. Keep in mind that I'm gonna end up doing something with TikTok too as well, but it's gonna be more like an interview thing. But that's gonna be later on. I already took on something extra yesterday, and I kept this going again tonight until hopefully Primo comes back. Joel, I don't know what's going on. I hope he's doing all right.
Yeah, I think he's. I know he's been pretty sick.
Yeah,
So
I know he's having a hard time. It's okay. Everybody's good through it. But I want to appreciate y'all coming in. Check out ecsmagazine.com and thank you guys for coming out tonight. I really do appreciate it. It's been awesome.
Thanks